Welcome everybody, this is Alex with Dogwood Bonsai. Today I just wanted to revisit the dogwood that I got back in March. I made a few videos. I'm going to blend them into this video so you can see those. And I'm pretty happy with the development of the tree. I do need to figure out the fertilizer. For some reason the leaves are, like half nice deep green like they should be, and there's some of them are turning kind of a lighter yellow color. So they definitely need some fertilization. I'm gonna give them some of the liquid fish and kelp in just a minute here, but I just kind of wanted to go over the development so far so you can see how the plant has come along. And I'm pretty excited because I'm getting a lot of lower growth and bud out, which means I can actually take this plant down even further than I was expecting. And I think that'll give me a little bit better taper with a smaller plant rather than as tall as it is now. I don't think it fits kind of the bonsai profile right now, just because of how tall it is. So how are we doing tonight, folks? Alex back again, doing some more bonsaiing. And today I have this beautiful dogwood. About 3.5 weeks ago I bought this from Home Depot, and it was a full, pretty big tree. And I'll turn the camera. I essentially chopped the top right off. I think I cut about 4.5, 5 feet off. And then, I quickly just wired one side of it kind of going down, and then I just let it sit. We're still relatively early spring. You can see all the flowers just starting. So I know it recovered quite well from the cut because none of these were even here. None of these buds were even here. And you can see it's got a beautiful root base. So I'm gonna go ahead and work with this and figure out what I want to start with for a root system and a Nebari. And then I'm gonna try not to trim too much, but I'm definitely gonna trim some of this off, put it in a relatively small pot, and then I'm going to put it right back in the same soil it came out of, just to not shock it too much. I want to go back into an environment that it's used to, even though it's going to have a little bit less roots. And then we'll kind of see what it looks like and keep up on it, and hopefully it recovers. Stay tuned. All right, back again with the dogwood. I think it's kind of tough because I kind of want the movement of this, but it doesn't quite match that. But I can always bend that. Can't bend this, so the tree's gonna go somewhere like this. But again, I didn't have to get rid of much, just a couple of the little new shoots, and I got rid of a big root there. I'm gonna seal those off with sealer. And a couple of roots that are sticking out of these other main roots, but that brought me down to what I think will be a better root system that has some really nice movement to it. Even if I have a little bit of these sticking above the ground, I don't want to trim too much more because we're in the middle of flower here. I'm not an expert, but to me it seems like a bad idea to cut new fresh roots off when you're trying to come right into flower, right into spring, and plant that's really thriving. So we're gonna get this planted. I'm gonna use my chopstick and get the dirt back into these roots, and then I'll show you the finished product. All right, folks, I know it's hard to see, but that is the final product. I was able to bend the branch around to kind of make the flow a little better here, but I think that this down here is gonna look great. And with that moss it's kind of pushed apart because I pushed it in, but it'll grow back. It'll grow in real nice. I just have to seal up those wounds and then call it good for the night. Hopefully it didn't bother the flowering too much moving into this pot, but I think it looks good. I'm gonna flip the camera around. We can kind of talk about it here, but as you can see, definitely survived. It's growing quite well. Again, some of these leaves look pretty healthy, but then you get down to the lower leaves and they're looking a little yellow, a little white. The moss definitely has not grown as well as I thought it would. This has been a very tough year here in New England. We've been getting just tons of rain almost every single day. These plants are not getting the time they need to dry out. And I'm actually in the process of thinking whether I should build almost like a greenhouse canopy over my plants because of how much rain we've been getting. And I just want to I want to be able to, control the water myself, and I think that might be the only option. But some of my plants are definitely developing root rot, and it's not me watering them, it's just all natural water. So I'm gonna have to deal with that, and I have fertilized this before. It's just that we're getting so much rain that it's just washing it all out of these pots. So I'm gonna have to revisit that right now. But I just wanted to show you this. But I might actually clip it down to like here or here next year, and just make it a little bit shorter and just get a little bit better taper on it. But overall, this thing is doing great. I'm pretty excited that it actually survived, and it's budding so low. That's going to give me a lot of options as far as how I can work with this. And as you can see, I've been trimming these off, trying to get them to bud back, so I don't have, big spacings between all the nodes. I'm trying to make develop my pads as best I can now early on. But I think this is definitely going to be one of those trees that, I develop for a few years before I decide to sell. And who knows, maybe I'll even decide this is one that I want to keep. But yeah, I think this looks good. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and blend this in with my earlier videos. I'm going to show you when I got this tree and how I cut it, and show you the roots before I planted in here. And I mean, they were, this is where the soil, you can kind of see the color difference in the bark, but the soil from the pot from Home Depot was actually here. And then I basically trimmed. There's a major root right here I sealed off that I cut off. There's one on the other side, and there was a few minor roots here and there that I had to trim. But I think that root base looks really neat. So I think this will be a really, really cool looking tree. It's going to take a couple years, but so far I'm very happy that it's survived. So stay tuned. Probably won't see this tree again until next year. I'm going to work on it the best I can, get it fertilized properly. Hopefully, like I said, get a canopy